Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today from our friends at AALL Create, I have 2 sheets of rub-ons that are called Zesty Blossoms. Absolutely beautiful. On this side you can see what they look like. There's 2 different sheets actually, and this is a card I made using one of those sheets with these beautiful rub-ons. This is our giveaway card for this episode, so if you stick around, you'll learn how one lucky viewer could win this card to keep or share with a friend. So come play with us. All right, so here are the sheets. Really beautiful designs with the flowers and the different butterflies. You can see here there's little bits of citrus fruit on these, and then apples right here. And the blossoms on these are absolutely gorgeous. So the instruction pack on the other side, okay, gives you step-by-step instructions, and they even give you a little craft stick, a little popsicle stick to use, which is so nice. So I just wanted to demonstrate before we get started here. Here's one that I had left, and I'm just gonna do a little cutout. Now, you could cut them out into little squares or rectangles. You can also die cut them, which I will show you shortly. You want to leave the backing that comes when you do that, okay? When you're working with these at all, you want to leave the backing on until you're absolutely ready to do your little rub-on. So I'm going to just kind of show you how I cut these out without getting too detailed in the cutting, because there is a lot going on in each one of these. So they could be a little intimidating, but you're just gonna go like this, and notice how I'm turning the scissor. I'm not turning the scissor, I'm turning the rub-on like this. And I'm also trying to keep it kind of in the jaws of the scissor right here. And then we're just going to keep turning and turning and turning. Unfortunately, we lost our butterfly there. And then we're just going to keep going like that. All right, and then we can get rid of this part. Now I'm ready to remove this part. You know what? I don't like the little pointy thing at the end. Let's remove that. So now we're going to remove the backing. Come on. And that backing is kind of the tacky, sticky side of it. And then just kind of burnish that with your fingers to make sure it's not going to slide around on there. Okay, just take your little popsicle stick, and you're going to go like this. And then we're going to just pick a spot here, and we're going to press firmly as we rub the areas. And you just want to make sure to go over the entire thing pretty close together. You know what, I'm not going all the way down here very well, so let's hit that spot. All right, keep going, making sure we get around the entire edge. All right. All right. Oh, I forgot to do that little thing that Sarah likes to do, where she bends part of it and it gives you a little bit of a handle to hold on to. And then you're just going to gently start pulling this up. Now, I can already see I've left some little white spots right there. So we just need to go back and make sure that they connect. And that's why I'm not just ripping it off quickly. Right, got a couple little pieces up here. One of that little petal pieces right there. And we're just doing this slowly. Oh, missed one right there. Couple right there. And then there we go. Came right off. And that way, if you just sort of do the peek as you rub these on, you're not going to get any big splotches or anything like that. Same method goes if you're doing something like we did on this one, where I just cut it into a rectangle. I used some white cardstock and then placed it on there and then just carefully rubbed over the entire thing. So I'm going to tell you about this card, and then I'm going to tell you about our giveaway. So This paper pack worked so well with this collection. It is watercolor wildflowers, 12 by 12 pattern cardstock. And I used this one right here. The back side is this. It has these beautiful flowers. I actually took my 5 by 6.5 inch tent fold card right here, and I cut away, how much did I cut away? 2.5 inches from the flap on the front. And then I used this part of the paper where it has a little bit of a dip in it right there, this garland, and I covered the front flap with that, okay? And then the inside of the card, I covered with the back side of this paper. It has this great stripe on there. And then I had a little bit left over from the corner right here on one of the top pieces of paper, and I just glued that there. Before gluing that down though, I did add a little bit of cocoa bean ink, used my favorite applicator tool, and then of course went around the edges of the card once it was covered with paper, using that same ink, just giving that a little bit of a shade as we go around. And then this piece right here, let me give you the measurements for that. Okay, that is 3 3/4 wide by 4.5 inches long. And then I actually took this piece that's on the white cardstock and I matted it with brown cardstock from Forest Magic, because the coordinating cardstock for this one, it does not have any brown in it. So, and then I took our giant wheel of foam tape, which I'm gonna grab right here. There's 150 feet or 50 yards of 1/2 inch wide continuous foam tape. I just took a couple strips of that, and then I took the white cardstock that this is matted on and I foam taped it to the brown cardstock. And then I foam taped this to the edge of this card, all right? Then I used these fantastic Dazzle stickers. These are called Artful Affirmations, right? And they have these really cool sayings. Today is a good day to have a good day. And then love more, worry less. And then this is the one I used. Make your, don't count your years, make your years count. So I used that there, and then the butterflies that come on the stickers, the border right here came from here, and then on the inside, use the other part of the greeting, another butterfly. They have these really cool little swirls here. I added those. Then this is the butterfly from right here, and I used that same cutout technique that I showed you, and then went ahead and rubbed that on there. Of course, our border here. So that was really easy to do, and these just pair so well. They just are a little bit artistic with that, artistic affirmations, positive thoughts that go really well with this. So I highly recommend you pick this one up, and you can get this one by the sheet. It's also listed down below the video if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode page at paperwishes.com. All the items are listed down below, as well as full color photos of the projects. If you're watching us over on our YouTube channel, just look below the video in the description box and you'll see a link that'll take you to this Paper Wishes webisode page, because we have a great money saver that's right there. All right, so how we do our card giveaway. Every week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday videos. Basically, if I'm hosting them, Lene Gehrig, then I'm doing a card giveaway. And how that works is we ask that you hop on over to our YouTube channel, My Paper Wishes, and that you like, comment, and be a subscriber. And that's every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday videos. You have 3 chances a week to win, but you do have to like and comment once you're a subscriber on each one of the videos. And then after about a week, we will respond, hey, congratulations, YouTube username blank. So you do have to know your username so you can identify that the message is for you. And then we give you instructions on how to claim your card. You do have to claim it within 7 days though. And we do this for our viewers in the United States and in Canada. So we hope that you participate, and then we will send this to you in a little bit of Happy Mail. All right, so next card idea, you guys. This one also uses a tent fold card. It uses a Slimline tent fold card. So this is 8 1/4 inches long and then 4 inches tall. And this one was really a fun one to make. So this, of course, is the rub-on that I cut out, placed it on a die cut circle, and then this one is the die cut circle that I rubbed on an image, the entire image onto that, and then just foam tape that to the back. So let's take a look. I used the watercolor of wildflowers. Once again, I used this plaid paper for the inside of the card, and for the outside I used this beautiful green vine paper that's so fun. Covered the whole thing, and then we have these borders that you can get right here between these cutouts, and I put some of the borders right there. And then these are fantastic Dazzle stickers. These are gold leaf. Actually, these are peel-offs. They're not our design. We buy these from the company that manufactures our Dazzle stickers in Holland. But they are fantastic. We put a length here and a length right here. But before I put the length over on this side, I used our 3-in-1 corner rounder just to round these two corners, and then added this right here. And then we've got our circle cutting die, okay, just out of white cardstock. And then I used khaki ink and the blender tool around that circle. Went ahead and cut out my florals and then rubbed those on. We've got a little 1/8 inch ribbon from our 1/8 ribbon collection here. All these great colors. And then I just took a little zot, a little glue dot, and attached that. And then this little greeting friend came from our pink We're Together Dazzle stickers, which are always fun to use. There's 2 sheets, and they have all of these greetings on them. They're just great for missing you, get well, missing our time together, thinking of you, friends, hugs, just sweet things that you would send to your friend you haven't seen in a while. This circle is foam taped to the card edge. Oh, and let me tell you, I did cut 2.5 inches off the right side of the card front. And then, as I mentioned before, used the smaller circle, rubbed that entire piece on there, and then glued this side, but then there's foam tape on this side just to make up for that height difference. Added Dazzle Rub-On peel-off sticker. And peel-off sticker here, and then this is a cutout from the paper pack. So yeah, just a different thing to do with a different shape. All right, next, you guys, we have got, this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card, and for this one I used the arch or nested arch cutting dies, and then I used our new Flit and Flutter 12 by 12 patterned cardstock, and inside all of our pattern cardstock packs for 12 by 12s and 6 by 6, we have these little cutouts. It's a whole sheet of these 6 little cutouts, and I just used this one and then used the arch on that as well. So I used, which one did I use? The second to the largest for this one. Inked the edges of that one with a little bit of brown. Then I used a smaller arch and cut out from white cardstock, and then applied, let's see, one of these. I think I used this one right here, this little area. So cut out the die shape first and then rub onto that. And you can just take this off. I would cut this off first and then apply the rub-on. Don't try to like peel this sheet off. This is like my #1 tip in working with rub-ons. Don't take your sheet and lay it on something and then try to rub it, because any pressure at all on the rest of the sheet, it'll transfer. And it'll transfer onto your card or your table, and it just gets to be a mess. So go ahead, take time to cut out, I cut out just a little rectangle and then rubbed it onto this piece. And then when I peeled this piece, the cardstock arch shape off of the rub-on sheet, it just left all of this aside, and I just tossed the rest of it. So then I foam taped this one, this smaller arch, to the larger one, and then we glued it to the center here, and then covered this card with this beautiful blue tapestry paper that's right there, and then inked the edges of that with some khaki ink. And then we've got, these are yellow Fancy Border Dazzle stickers along the top and bottom. A little bit of that 1/8 inch ribbon there, a little bow, and then just a cute little blessing from our black Tiny Words and Phrases Dazzle stickers. And it is really nice to have a little pokey tool that you can just use to lift these up and place them. Makes it a lot easier. All right, so what do we have left? Oh yes. So for this one, you guys, let me move this out of the way. All right, so for this one, I used the little yellow flowers with the little lemon on it. And the paper pack I used, this is our new Mystical Florals 12 by 12 pattern cardstock, and also the solid cardstock. So this is a 6.5 inch by 5 inch card. And then you guys, I took it, my card blank, and I put the fold at the bottom. Okay, so the opening part of the card is right here. And then I cut out one of those little card toppers that we were talking about before. They're the little rectangles. And I scored that at 3/4 of an inch from the top, inked the edges of that with khaki ink, cut out this lemon and these tall flowers right here, and I rubbed that on the right hand side. I love these gold pearl doily dazzle stickers. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love the thickness of the gold pearl, and they have a little bit of a texture. And I placed that size right there, and then here's a cutout from the collection. I foam taped that, and then another little doily right there. And then I used those tiny words and phrases dazzle stickers right here for their little hearts that they have on there. And then on each side of the card, we've got these little borders. Let's see, oh, I forgot. So this is how I made this part. Now let's talk about how I did the card. So the card has, first of all, I used this beautiful teal cardstock and just cut it a little bit smaller than the paper. Then I used this beautiful pattern green on the inside, inked the edges of that with khaki, and glued that to the center. Then added the borders, okay? Then here's another cutout from the paper pack. And under that, I chose to put one of these other little doilies, so they're overlapping, and then used a greeting, "You're the best," from the tiny words and phrases, another one of those small doilies with the little heart on it, okay? So that way when you open your little flap, you've got something else nice to look at. We're gonna open this again. At the top here, this was just really blank, so I took this large doily, peeled that off, cut it in half, and then just attached that overlapping at the top. Then I rubbed on this beautiful butterfly right here, cut that out, place that. Here's another piece of paper that I just cut out from the collection, inked the edges with khaki, and then I chose this little piece right here I cut out. It has a lemon and one of these little tall flowers, and I attached it there. And then I think there was another little lemon piece. Oh yeah, right over here. There was just a little lemon. I cut that out, attached that there, added these 3 little doily dazzles, and then the black tiny words and phrases for happy birthday. So you've got quite a little presentation here. When they get this, they open it here and here. And then this is such beautiful paper to look at there. All right, you guys, that is what I have for you using these amazing rub-ons. As you can see, lots of different looks from them. I love the really artful look the collection has. So definitely check out the Money Saver. It's right there on the right-hand side. Here we go. And don't forget to participate in our card giveaway. Let's see, yeah, this is our card giveaway. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, if you're watching us over on YouTube, as I said before, just look below the video in the description box below the video on YouTube, and you'll see a link that'll take you to this Paper Wishes webisode page and the Money Saver right there. All the other items are listed down below. Thanks so much for joining me today, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.